Hello, hello, hello. Come on in, y'all, real quick. Come on in, come on in. We are in the closet real quick, and I just want to throw some out here. I want to I want to ask a question. Come on in. I see you. Come on in. This won't take long. This is going to be real quick. Come on in. I see you. I see you. This is going to be real quick. I have a honest, quick answer, honest, quick question to ask everyone. Let me see. Let me make sure I'm good. Y'all, come on in real quick. Um, just a quick question that's been on my mind for a couple of days, and I just want to throw it out here to you guys. And it's coming from a Sunday school lesson, a very familiar lesson about the prodigal son of how the prodigal son got his inheritance from his father, and he went out and lived a reckless lifestyle, blew all the money, did all of this, um, and the text says that really got me to kind of springboard this question. It says in verse 20 of Luke the 15th chapter, he said, "But when he yet at a great way off, his father saw him and had compassion and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him." That even after everything that the son had done, that he got his inheritance, that he misused it, he went out there, lived this lavish lifestyle, and probably done some of the worst thing that a parent worst parent nightmare ever, that the child goes off and stray away. Um, but yet, when his father seen him, when he came back home, when he came to himself and he came back home, that his father had compassion for him, and that his father embraced him and told him to go get a coat, put a coat on him, um, put a ring on him, and all this. But the question of the day, and the question that I wanted to ask you all for today, is that, hold on one second, that if put in the situation, could you, as a child of God, could you receive your child or loved one as God yet has received you? Um, if we notice in the text that not once did the father say, "Well, boy, you've been out there doing this, you've been out there doing that, and now you want to come back home and this and that." I actually did a quick survey of a few people, probably about 8 people, men and women, and asked the same question. Are you ready to receive? Can you truthfully, honestly say that, yeah, I let my child come back, or I wouldn't treat them any different kind of way. Actually, the men was a little harder than the women. The women was like, that's my baby, and this and that, and had no problem saying, yeah, I get them back. But the men, the men was a little different. That you know, and we all know in this lifestyle that we live in, or this time that we live in, that um, kids go out there and do everything. Um, Men are a little sterner than women, and we all know that even though they 35, maybe 30, 40 years old, they still your child, and they possibly could very well still have to come home. But the question is, and maybe this is a question you have to ask yourself. Are you ready to receive? Yeah, you've been praying that the child come back home, and yet when that child come back home, are you ready to receive? Or are you going to be like God was to us? Or are you going to be like somebody else? Are you going to no, you've been out there, you've been out there doing this and that, and now you know, now you're telling me you're coming to. Are you going to beat them up, or are you going to embrace them and like the father did in this particular parable that we're talking about? So the question of the day is, how would you receive them? Would you really receive them? Would there be some stipulations, or would it be like the father in this parable, or like Christ did us? Christ didn't ask for no credit check. Or he didn't go back and look at your background and didn't care about what you did or anything like that. No, he embraced. He had compassion. That he showed that son love just as if that son never even um, left the household. And we also got to understand that, I truly believe in this parable, um, that this was a godly household, just in my opinion, that, he was raised up in a godly household, but yet he strayed away, which lets me know that, it's even possible that you have a godly household and some of your kids might even stray away from God, but yet you still prayed for them. And yet maybe some trust issues might have came up, or some, keep coming back and forth, in between that, some trust issues might have been broken, or some hearts might have been broken, some feelings might be broken. But just as this son, when he came to himself, when he repented that he did what he did and realized that what he was doing was wrong, and he went back home. And so the question of the day is, are you ready to receive this loved one, or are you ready to receive anyone that want to come back home? We have a lot of kids that's out there, and I'm sure they need to come back home. But the thing about it is, are you ready to receive them as they come? And leave it in the comments. Leave it in your text message. Text message me if you know me personally. But I want you to leave it in the comments, and just, I want to know, what do you think? I did a survey. Um, Most men is like, nah, they can't come back here. And some women said, I love them from a distance. I don't know how you do that, but I love them from a distance. Some said, no, that's my baby. Come on back home. But this text here to me is teaching us that, and I might be a rhetorical thing I'm talking to about right now, but the text here says that, the father didn't ask no questions. But I love it when this text, when it says, but when he was yet a great way off, you know, I thought about it, most, um, in most situations, most parents pray that their child come back home, or they come back to Christ, you know. And when they say, when he's seen them a great way off, for some reason that tells me that this father been praying that his child come back home. That maybe it wasn't so much of a surprise to this father that his child was coming back home, that his father was waiting in expectancy that this child come back home. And I just believe that, it's a lot of us out here that's waiting on our children to come back home, to come back to Christ. They was raised up in the church, to come back home. But the thing about it is, when they come back home, how you going to treat them? Can you treat them like this father here in the text? When the lost come back home, how do you treat them? Or do you continue to um, bring up the past? Can you get beyond the past? Can you get beyond your emotions? Can you go beyond the heartache that you've been going through and receive this person? I think this is a valid question. Let me see if I can get some comment. Let me see if anybody on here. Are y'all on there? Let me see. But yes, but the question is, and I want you all to leave your comments on, and let's talk about it. I think it's a valid thing to talk about in this life, in this society that we live in. But let's talk about it. Are you ready to receive? Are you ready to receive whatever it is that you've been praying for? You know, um, leave it in the comments. Let's talk about this thing. And the question is one more time, just in case people didn't get it or anything like that, and we're going to discuss it, and maybe I'll come on in a day or so, and kind of give some comments of what some people said and everything. But the question is, can you receive someone that has been that has lived this lavish lifestyle, that has been out there, and yet they came to themselves and they want to come back home? How would you receive them, or how would you receive them? Would you receive them like they never left? I'm sure it is going to be some stipulations somewhere, or this and that. But how would you receive them, or have the trust factor been damaged so that you can't find it no way in your heart to receive them? But let me know. Put it in the comments. Put it in the questions. I just came on here. This question been on my mind throughout this parable. Um, it's in Luke. We all know this parable of the prodigal son, and we all know that he got out there and he spent all he had, and the truth of the matter is, sometimes it take a rock bottom situation for you to come to yourself. That sometimes you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, that um, you get to a point, and we always pray for our kids to come back. The Bible says, train up a child. That even though he go out there, he can, sometimes that he can come to himself and realize that, some of the training and some of the things that he's been taught at home. But when he come back home, when he come to himself, or when he come back, are we ready to receive him? It's just a question, y'all. It's just a question. Y'all know I'm weird. It's just a question. I try to think, and I oftentimes try to put myself into the text. And when I did, I asked myself, how would I receive my child um, like this father in this parable, or like God received us? And I believe it's a true, it's a legitimate question, and I want to know. And I took a brief survey. I did 4 men and 4 women. Um, Actually, several of the women was like, "Yeah, that's my baby. Hey, come on back home." But the men wasn't going. The men wasn't having it. They was like, "Hey, you went out there, you and done this, you and done that." And I'm talking about these Christian folks. So I'm asking you a question: how would you receive them? Would you receive them? Period. Would you receive them, and why? You know, or would you receive them like Christ received us? And in this text, the son, just as far as we know, in the story, that he went out, his first time ever going out and doing this. But we all know, in the society we live in now, they might go out, come back in, go out, come back in, go out, come back in. So a lot of trust is damaged. A lot of issues going on. But at the end of the day, how would you treat them when they come home? That's just a question. I just want to come on here real quickly and throw that out there. I will be reading the comments. I see you all. I thank you all for coming on. I thank you all. I think that's on YouTube also. But leave it in the comments, and let's talk about it. In our next session, hopefully I can come on and we can discuss it a little more. I'm real interested in to know. And I know it's probably easy to say, yeah, he can come back home. But, you know, I know in some situations it's not quite as easy. It's easier said than done. And but yeah, but the question is, can you receive? Let me make sure because I had to write it down because I was getting confused. If put in the situations, could you, as a child of God, not just a parent, but as a child of God, could you receive your child or a loved one just as God has received you? All right, y'all. I'm out of here. I thank you all. I just want to come on here, and share a little bit with you all. And please let me know. And even if you don't let me know, even if you don't um, put it in the comments or anything, it's just something to really think about. That we have people on this earth, we have people in our society that's, to be honest, me as a child, I strayed away, but I did come back home, and thank God I had some parents that received me, um, and I came to myself, and yes, I did repent, and yes, I did give my life over to the Lord, and we know this is not something that just um, happened overnight. That um, that God, yet He got to deal with the person that's out there, but also He got to deal the person that's receiving, you know, that you got to deal with some things also. So that's the quick question. And I love you all. I'm out of here. I like to thank you all. Y'all pray for my mother-in-law. That's all. Just pray for my mother-in-law. Pray for her health and everything. I pray for her, and I pray for my family, and I pray for you all's family. Y'all have a good night. Thank you.